I think we can clap for that, right? I felt I could feel the need that we all had. That was beautiful, Isla. Thank you. Hello and welcome. My name is Alyssa Lee. My pronouns are she or they, and I'm the minister here at for this congregation. And I want to welcome you to Brookfield Unitarian Universalist Church, both in person and on Zoom. And we're glad you're here. I'd like to invite any members of our membership committee present this morning to stand and give us a little bit of a wave. We've got a few people, all right. They'll be available after the service to show you around and answer any questions you might have about the church. If you're new here, we'd love for you to sign our guest book in the entryway so that we can send you a copy of our latest newsletter, which will give you an idea of who we are and what's going on here at the church. And speaking of who we are, this congregation puts genuine warmth and welcome in the heart of everything we do. So in that spirit, I invite everyone present to turn and briefly greet or wave to one another. You are welcome to say hello as well. Also, a reminder to pick up your name tag on the way to coffee hour, which is actually, we're not going to have coffee hour today, right? But still reminder to put your name tag on. If you don't have a name tag and would like one, there are directions on how to get one on the board at the back of the sanctuary. Masks are now optional during worship and at coffee hour, or at the potluck later. And as always, please no food or drink in the sanctuary. The restroom is located downstairs and is accessible via the stairs or lift off of the parlor here. Today's announcements are listed on the back of your order of service. We will have a potluck after the service today. It's just down these stairs or the lift. Everyone is welcome to attend. You don't need to have brought something to attend. And it is in my honor, so please come. I welcome everyone to attend. Are there any other announcements for today? I will have one very quickly that Cara was mouthing to me, and I'm proud of myself for being able to understand that. Because as some people have learned previous, I'm terrible at understanding. We're going to put up, starting next week, Cara has created like a bulletin board of sorts that we're going to put in the parlor. And so we want to, some idea for Christmas Eve services to talk about just joy and happiness and Christmas memories. And so we'd love to hear, what are some of your favorite Christmas memories, or just what's something you really love? Like, I personally love the Muppet Christmas Carol. That is like, wouldn't be Christmas without that, or Charlie Brown. So we'd love for you to put any of your memories or just things that you love about the season, favorite songs, anything on the bulletin board. It'll be there next week in the parlor and leading up to Christmas Eve services. Now on to Lila. Thank you. Thank you, Lila. Does anybody else have any announcements before we get started? I see a flurry of people grabbing some music. So that's a good sign that people are going to join us. Yeah. We take direction well. Yes. All right. Well, while they get the music, I'll go ahead. Yes, please take two. When I was probably a young teen, I was at a grocery store with a relative, and we were buying groceries with what we used to call food stamps. And my relative was a little short and couldn't afford to get our entire bill. And the person manning the checkout was a young man who reached into his pocket and made up the difference for us. This young man was probably in high school or college, and I would assume didn't make a whole lot of money working at our local neighborhood grocery store. But he saw that we had a need, and he didn't hesitate to help us. This was a small gesture, but it has remained with me throughout my life. Today, we're thinking about small kindnesses like that one, moments that seem small, perhaps left that person's memory right after he did it. He probably never thought about it again, but these moments perhaps had a big impact on us and the way we see the world and ourselves. So let us now begin our worship. Our first hymn is Come Ye Thankful People, and it is an insert. We'll see right here, number 68 in your order of service. Please rise in body or spirit. I would now like to invite the children and youth to come forward to light the chalice.
Today's chalice lighting comes from Laura Horton Ludwig. The wheel of the year has turned again. Once more, the Thanksgiving season has arrived. How shall we sing our song of gratitude now? For what shall we give thanks? For this moment, for friends near and far, for our breath, for love, for courage and clarity, for strength, for delight, for laughter, for beauty, for the tables round which we gather, for the food we enjoy with friends, seasoned with love and memory, for the sun and moon and stars in the sky, for the trees who have seen so much and still stand proud, stretching themselves to the sky, for the bright voices of children, for the wisdom of elders, for actions that bless the world, for hard work that makes a difference, for music and art and celebration, for generosity, for compassion, for endurance, for joy, for hope. For all these things we give thanks as we worship together.
I'm going to deviate a little bit off script today and light another candle. I don't know about many of you, but I'm feeling a lot of the weight of the world today and the last couple of weeks. So I want to light a candle that symbolizes our need for peace and an end to suffering. I want to remember specifically those that have died in Gaza and Israel. And may this candle be a symbol of our collective mourning for the losses suffered, and a light of hope the hostages will be returned, and that there will be peace in this region. If you'll please join me in reading our affirmation that you will find printed in your order of service. We have a few people who will lead us in the together, and I invite you to join in the response. Together. Unite in an atmosphere of care and support, foster spiritual health and growth. Together. We focus on sharing our ideas and histories with warmth, hope, loving friendship, and an open mind. We nurture stability for our daily lives and seek motivation to reach out to the larger community. One of the ways we reach out to the larger community is through our support of the Brookfield Ecumenical Pantry. If you brought a donation, you're invited to come forward and place it in the basket at the front of the sanctuary here. If you didn't bring a donation for the food pantry or are attending via Zoom but would like to contribute, you're invited to mail in a donation or to leave a monetary donation in the envelope in the basket here. 3/4 of the monetary donations go to the Minister's Benevolence Fund, and 1/4 goes to the operation expenses of the food pantry. Thank you for sharing with your neighbors.
Today's reading is a poem by Mary Lee Hahn. Look up. All you can see are the yellows, oranges, and reds of leaves, whose supply of chlorophyll has been shut off. Sky is beginning to show through the emptying branches. Look out. If there's a breeze, the air between tree and ground is filled with drifting, swirling specks of light as the leaves who've let go return to earth to nourish the soil. Look down. The dense shade, so welcome in July, is beginning to splinter. In January, you'll be glad for every sunbeam that filters between empty branches to warm your bundled body. Look in. The hemoglobin in your blood and the chlorophyll in the leaves are kin. Both contain a ring of identical atoms circling a core of magnesium for leaves and iron for blood. Reliably calm, trees freely offer healing for broken human hearts.
One of the things that brings me joy is that, as many of you know, during the second weekend, second Sunday, the religious education program goes on a hike rather than has classes here. And so I was able to join them last weekend. That was last weekend, right, Cara? Yes, okay. And it was my first time I got to join, and it was just such a wonderful experience. And it's so, every time I share that this congregation does that with any minister, they're like, ooh, that's such a fabulous idea, you know? And so I imagine a lot of people are gonna try to steal it at some point, but it was just such a wonderful experience to get to be outside and get to talk, and I got to see I've never been to, is it Barrie? Am I saying that right? Barrie, Massachusetts, which I was calling Bar for a long time, which I've learned until some people in Hudson were like, what are you saying? Barrie? And I was like, yes. So I just so grateful for the program that we have here. Cara does such an amazing job. And so when you support this congregation with your offering and your donation, you're supporting this amazing work that the religious education program is doing. And so we thank you for that. If you would like to donate, if you're joining us by Zoom, you can make an offering or pledge at any time using one of the options available to you on the order of service. Or you can donate here with the offering. So the offering will now be gratefully received. Thank you. You may be seated. Please join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Our meditation today is an abbreviated one written by our former UUA president, Susan Frederick Gray. It's a gratitude meditation. I invite you to take a few relaxing breaths in and out. Feel free to close your eyes if that's most comfortable, or to leave them gently open. Breathe in a way that feels comfortable and relaxing. And if anybody at some point feels like they need to stand or get some wiggles out, that's okay too. I invite you at first just to pay attention to your body. If there's a place of tension or pain, imagine breathing your breath into that part of your body. Imagine the breath expanding that area of tension and then breathing out through the pain or tightness. Feeling the muscles release with the out breath. With breathing in, expand your attention in any area of tension. Breathe out through that area, letting the tension go. Breathing in through areas of tension and letting go of that tension or pain if you can. As you continue to breathe, ask yourself if there's anything or anyone you're feeling grateful for. Ask yourself in your heart, who or what are you grateful for? Is there anyone who is caring for you, showing you care, inspiring you, comforting you? Anyone who you love, who you are grateful for? Hold that person or those people. Visualize them. Hold them in the gratitude that you feel for them. Breathe in that feeling of gratitude. Breathe out that gratitude for those loved ones. I invite you to take a few more breaths. And as you do, I invite you to think about anything about this day, anything that's happened, anything you're looking forward to. Just be present to that. Take it in. Hold in your intention anything that you are grateful for from this day, that you're grateful to be looking forward to in this day. Anything that's present to you right now. Just hold that gratitude and that attention in your heart, in your mind as you breathe in and out gently. Open your heart to other things in your life in this moment that you're feeling grateful for. Hold those in your attention. Breathe in that feeling of gratitude. Breathe in imagining or holding in your mind those people, those things, those connections. Breathe in that gratitude. As you continue to breathe, take a moment to hold in your attention all these connections, all these relationships, all these gifts that you're grateful for. Bring them to your attention again together. Breathe in the gratitude you feel. Breathe out gratitude across those connections. And as you are ready, as you continue to breathe gently, you can bring your attention back to this time, to your body, to each other gathered in meditation. And as we close, and as you breathe gently, offer a word in silence or out loud or spoken, a word of gratitude for these gifts. Blessed be and amen. Again, we invite you to join us for the musical offering. Is that right, Lila? First, We Are Strangers No More. It's in the small.
Growing up, I was the baby of the family. My sisters are 9 and 11 years older than I am. I often joke that it was the best of both worlds. I have sisters, but they moved out by the time I was 9, so it was like being an only child. However, I loved having cool teenage sisters when I was younger. My oldest sister, Melissa, better known as Missy by family, was generally very kind and patient with me. Sometimes she would say, "Let's have a sleepover." I'd roll a sleeping bag out on the floor in my sister's room, and Missy and I would watch Anne of Green Gables, play video games on the Atari, or listen to Duran Duran and chat. She had a book with photographs of real unicorns that she let me look at when I woke up in the morning and she was still sleeping. Finally, when Missy woke up, we each got a big bowl of cereal and watched Saturday morning cartoons together. She did not host these sleepovers often, but the gift of her time and attention meant so much to me. Last Sunday, religious exploration families met for our monthly walk. We met at Cook's Canyon in Barrie, one of a handful of spots we return to at least once a year. During the walk, confidences are shared amongst the children, the youth, and the adults. Joys and concerns pour out when we recognize them formally and during the walk itself. We stopped at the halfway point of the loop on some rocks a bit higher than the path itself, with the sound of the waterfall from the nearby dam as the backdrop of our conversation. A friend hugged me. We had been best friends, but she had not been nice to me lately, so I was surprised. Someone talked to me at a party where I had felt like part of the background. It made me feel like I had been invited on purpose. My children were crying at a store, and instead of treating me poorly, someone let me go ahead of them in the checkout line so I could get out faster. There's a group of people that I hang out with only in one particular class. It's nice to have a different set of friends that aren't part of my usual social group. These are examples of some unexpected kindnesses shared during the RE family walk last week. Since then, I have been remembering small kindnesses. I think of the ones I experienced as a child and those that, while small, significantly impacted my life. I am thankful for everyone.
Sometimes I feel alone with my feelings, but in times like those, a friendly person can make all the difference. At the beginning of the church year, a while back, a time when I was feeling anxious and alone, a friend of mine reached out, and they talked to me, and they laughed with me, and they made sure that I was okay. After talking even more, and hanging out even more, and texting even more, we found out we share a lot of interests. It made my day, and they're still one of my best friends. Even still, when one of us is down, we can help each other. We laugh and we smile and we joke, and it makes my entire life better. This goes to show how much a simple act of kindness that happened to me could make my life so much better.
Thank you so much to Cara and Zoe for sharing those reflections. That was wonderful. I'd now like to invite you to sing in your purple hymnal, number 60, No Hemos Reunido. The great Reverend Howard Thurman recounts in his memoir a story. Sorry, Lila, I always forget to let you walk by. I'm still working on that. I'll start again. He recounts in his memoir a story that when he was growing up in segregated Dayton, Florida in the early 1900s, Black children were not typically educated by the public schools past the 7th grade. So there were only 3 public high schools for Black children in the entire state of Florida, but no opportunities to attend 8th grade. So that was sort of the gap there. His elementary school principal fortunately saw promise in him and tutored him so that he was allowed to pass the 8th grade examination and be accepted into one of the high schools. The nearest one was in Jacksonville, Florida, and a cousin allowed him to live there for his schooling. So when the time came for Thurman to leave for Jacksonville, he had borrowed an old trunk with no lock and no handles, and he only had a rope to secure it. He said his goodbyes to his family, but after he bought his ticket, the agent refused to check his trunk because the check must be attached to the handle and not a rope. The ticket agent said he would have to send the trunk via express, and Thurman didn't have any money for that. He sat down on the steps of the railway station and just cried his heart out. But it said at one point he opened his eyes, and before him he saw a large pair of work shoes. Standing in front of him was a Black man dressed in overalls and a denim cap who said, "Boy, what in the hell are you crying about?" Thurman told him, and then the man said, "If you're trying to get out of this damn town to get an education, the least I can do is help you. Come with me." So he took him to the ticket agent and asked how much it would take to send his trunk express. Then he took out his rawhide money bag and counted the money out. Thurman says the man then turned and disappeared down the railroad track, and he never saw him again. Howard Thurman made it to Jacksonville, went to high school and then college. Then he became a minister and later the director of religious life at Morehouse and Spelman colleges, then the first dean of the Andrew Rankin Chapel at Howard University, and then the dean of Marshall Chapel at Boston University, a place where he taught the likes of James Baldwin, Arthur Ashe, and a young doctoral student named Martin Luther King Jr., who you may have heard of. Thurman is often credited with bringing the concept of nonviolence to the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 60s. So imagine if that man had not stepped up and helped young Howard Thurman. He might have had no other choice but to pack up his trunk and just head home. Perhaps he never would have achieved the education that he dreamed of. Hopefully he would have, but it's possible he wouldn't have. This one man's simple kindness, his act of love for this young stranger, is laudable. But what is remarkable is the man's understanding that his actions were in service of something larger than himself, helping a young Black man get out of the town where he had no educational future and pursue a life that might ensure a better future for himself and others. It's hard to say that if any of our actions have had quite such an impact on this country and the world, but maybe they have. At the very least, I can say the small kindnesses where someone has stepped into my life or the life of those I love have found ways to reshape my life. Up until very recently, I've always driven cars that one might kindly call beaters. My dad and many of the men in my family are car guys who don't believe in spending a lot of money on cars and who love nothing more than to hang out together on the driveway fixing said cars. Because of this, I've spent a lot of time alone with my thoughts, broken down on the side of the road, and waiting for someone to come get me. My husband can attest to this. I can see it in his eyes. And I cannot tell you how many people have pulled over to help me. One time I was alone on this dark stretch of road, and a man waited for me until one of my brothers could pick me up. because he said he would have hoped someone would do the same for his daughter. Another time, an elderly couple drove my sister, my brother, and my baby nephew and me all the way to our grandmother's house in Tulsa because we'd broken down on the side of the turnpike on the way to see her. The memories of these people, whose names I often never learned, have stayed with me for 20 plus years because they taught me that helping someone out, even if it was an inconvenience or possibly even a risk, was also worth the effort. And their actions did have reverberations, at least in my life, and hopefully as a result in what I was able to pay forward to others because I was inspired by their actions. As we enter this holiday season, especially this week, as many of us are focused on gratitude and what we have to be thankful for, let us lift up these moments when someone extended us a small kindness. Maybe someone gave you an extra penny at the cash register, or perhaps handed you a Kleenex when you needed one. I remember I was in the middle of a final in college, and at some point my pen just flew across the room into nothingness. No idea where it might have gone. This was when we were still writing with pens. And someone very next to me very quietly just put a pen on my desk and let me continue on. Those small gestures of kindness and compassion can often feel like little love letters from the universe, like someone or something is saying to us, I see you, I care about you, and I want you to be okay. When the world gets to be too much, these moments are reminders of our humanity and the humanity of others, of the beauty that can be found in this world and in other people. Amen, and may it be so. Our final hymnal today is in the Teal hymnal, number 1010, We Give Thanks. You don't actually have to open the hymnal, is that right? The choir will actually lead you. You can if you want, or not. Please rise and embody your spirit.
We give
I give thanks to Lila for reminding me to extinguish the chalice, as I want to forget. Just another reminder that we are having a potluck downstairs, so I really hope everyone joins us. May the week ahead remind you of yourself, remind you of those who have formed you and loved you into being. May you look up at the stars and feel that you are home or will be soon. May you know with certainty that this universe cares for you and that your place in it has meaning and is beautiful. May you go in peace, surrounded by the love of this community today and always.